Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? I just want to give a quick shout out to our new and amazing sponsor, Hello Talk. Have you ever just wanted to learn a new language? ¿Han querido alguna vez aprender un idioma nuevo? I'm sure you already know how to say, hello, how are you? Or, ¿dónde está el baño? Or, I like blue pens, or I don't know, some other useless pronouns that you probably don't want to know. But you see, with Hello Talk, you can actually talk to native speakers in the language that they can help you with. Pues con Hello Talk pueden hablar con gente nativa de diferentes idiomas que te pueden ayudar. So that means you can actually connect and share the difference in your cultures, your slangs, and even your history. All you have to do is search for a language partner by a native language and native city, and then you're off to the races. It can be across the border or all the way around the world. And by the way, you don't have to learn Spanish. You can also learn Japanese, Italian, Korean, literally everything. This app has over 150 people speaking different languages and also 250 million people on standby. He estado usando la app desde la última semana de marzo. He aprendido mucho español y he conocido mucha gente simpática con quienes aún sigo hablando y texteando hasta el día de hoy. If you don't know what I just said, then you should probably start practicing your Spanish. Go ahead and click the link on the description above if you're on Instagram or down below if you're on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, well, great. Good for you. We're going to have more videos coming soon. And also, the best part about this, it's free. You can get the VIP for $8, but honestly, it's free. Go ahead. Click on it. Click on it now. So let's get started now. Así que empieza ahora.
Hey guys, it's me, Nick Puente, and welcome to the Vibe Check Podcast, the podcast where I get to talk to cool and interesting characters and talk about their cool and interesting lives, where the topic of conversation can be about launching a new product or theorize that artificial intelligence will be the downfall of mankind. In any case, everyone has a good story to tell, so sit back and enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to the Vibe Check Podcast Season 3, and I can already tell what's going on. We can see him now. It's crazy, right? No, but in all honesty, yes, we are starting Season 3 with some video and audio, or audio and video, whatever you want to take it. And I'm here with a special guest today, and it's been a long time coming, and it's going to be Robert Babo Moziesk.
Close enough. Mozisek.
Moziesk, damn it. Okay, almost there. So Babo here, he is my trainer and also I consider a good friend now. And he represents Ambush Tiger, and which, by the way, shout out to Ambush Tiger. I really hope I get to have you guys on here too. This is really cool. And this past weekend, right, you just won a tournament, correct? Would you like to tell me about that?
Yeah, the past weekend, April, we did the final round championships, Muay Thai Classic. I competed at super lightweight, which is 131 to 135.9 weight class. Possibility of up to 3 fights. There was only 2 guys in the bracket, so I ended up only getting 2 fights. Won the first fight with a split decision. Second fight, I don't know if it was a split or unanimous. It was a pretty close fight regardless, but I walked away with a belt, and that's all that mattered to me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, I saw on Instagram because I follow you guys like crazy. Both, like, you know, the Professor Bob. I call him Bob, Professor Bob. And I call Mikey, Mike, all of them. Yeah, and I saw you, like, you won, man, and I was so happy. I remember texting you, and, like, it's just so cool. And honestly, that's where I really want to get into, like, right off the bat, is that Muay Thai, like, first of all, what invoked that courage to, like, what was the push factor? What invoked that courage, especially Muay Thai being, if you guys don't know, Muay Thai, and I've been talking about this all the time when I'm on the podcast, it's the art of 8 limbs. You know, you use your kicking, your fists, your elbows, your knees, you know, pretty much almost every, like, you know, function of your body in a sense. But why Muay Thai for you? Like, what was that push factor?
Well, so when I was younger, I think everybody had either some kind of karate or taekwondo. I had a karate. It was very, very short-lived. I think I only got through like 3 or 4 belts before I ended up getting pulled out of it. Mom just couldn't afford it, didn't have time to go to it anymore, and that was fine with me. It wasn't a huge thing. Growing up, I always thought kickboxing was super cool, but never really actually went into it. And it wasn't until 2009, slightly after my daughter was born, the traumatic experience, if you will, of being separated from her mom kind of put me in a dark place. There was a lot of not good things going on. I went to work, went home, sat in the dark, played video games, and ate pizza all day, every day. And after gaining, about 50-ish pounds, so I'm 5'9", and almost 180 pounds, doesn't look very good on me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to lose weight, and I basically just hopped on the computer and was looking for a gym, but I didn't want your just standard everyday gym because I knew it wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
So I went to the next best thing and I Googled kickboxing, Googled Muay Thai, and I found Team Took out in Houston, and just went in one day. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And I mean, the rest is history from there, man. I walked in, I asked what it was, hopped into class, and signed up that day.
Yeah, man. Like going back to what you said, you're in a pretty dark place, and I feel like honestly, that's just all it takes for a lot of people to have some great change in their life. You got to go through some traumatic experience. Like things have to get worse in order things got to get better. And I'm happy that you put that in there. I know this can be like a little personal here and there, but I could say too, man. I mean, like I have friends, and again, also sorry to cut this. Yeah, we have Will here too, a good friend of mine I've known since childhood. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Like he can tell you, a lot of my friends can tell you that we've all been through some rough spots, but because of those rough spots, we got to bounce back even greater before.
Absolutely.
So like, I'm really happy you touched up on that because I would like to say a lot of times when you have these greats, like you have, I guess you can call them Michael Jordans, or you can have the Muhammad Ali's, or you have just someone who's great that everyone knows. They had to have gone through hell. Yeah. They've had to have gone through some sort of adversity, not to just test themselves, but to really, really individuate. Like, this is my pain. Like, this is what I've gone through. So how can I guess, use this as a tool instead of being self-destructive? So, yes, of course, I have to agree with that. And going off that point, I mean, when you have that adversity and you go into the arena, you go into to the square, how does it feel? Like, there has to have some sort of, like, visceral emotion.
I mean, so that one's to each fighter, right? Everybody's a little bit different. The first time I ever stepped in the ring with intentions other than just training happened to be a hard sparring thing that was going on. I wanted to go check it out. I'd never seen a fight live, so I wanted to, just check it out. I had no intention of actually stepping foot in the ring. I was there with a girlfriend at the time, and she ended up leaving, going to work. None of my teammates were there. None of my coaches were there. And I happened to overhear two of the coaches talking to each other that were doing all the matchups. It was like, well, we don't have a matchup for so-and-so. So-and-so's matchup left, this, that, and the other, whatever. I had only been training for about 6 to 8 months, and I do not recommend ever doing this. But for me, it thankfully worked out for the better. I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, hey, I've been training for a little bit, and I just started sparring, and I'd be interested in climbing in there. Of course, none of them knew that coaches weren't there. This was still this was 11 years ago. It was 11 years ago. So, it was pretty, you just do your thing, right? Mm. And so they were like, yeah. So they matched me up with a guy who was a little bit shorter than me. Shout out to Tony Conception for kicking my ass. Because if it wasn't for him kicking my ass, I don't know if I'd be here doing this right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he met his coach. His coach, 60%, no big deal, whatever. I think we can all say that didn't happen. But, a few minutes later, I climbed in the ring, and they're like, well, where's your corners? What's a corner? I don't know what's going on, man. And sure enough, one of the coaches there hopped up in my corner with a drink in hand, and we won't mention what that was. It was like, this is what we're doing. It started kind of almost freaking out, if you will. I was like, what did I just get myself into?
Like, are you inebriated?
Yeah, man, it was interesting. And so, Tony Conception, 3-minute rounds just put me through every bit that you could ever experience in one shot. Man. It was insane. But I was at this point, coming off of that whatever that darkness was before, like finding this kind of new light, if you will, in this martial art. I just was like, this is cool. I'm enjoying myself, even though I'm getting the snot beat out of me, and I'm not going to give up. And that's one thing about me that I've, tried to keep about me through high school, through, sports, through everything, is I never give up. And so he put me through it. And then at the end, not knowing them at the time, knowing them now is super cool. The ref and my corner, who were the same coaches that were matchmaking, just so happened to be Krubab Perez, which is Derek Lewis from the UFC's trainer, and Jeremy Mahone, who now owns War MMA, and they were a part of 4 Ounce Fight Club at the time. And so once it was over, Crew Bob took me aside and he's like, "Man, where are you from? Who do you train with? Where did you come from?" And we had a little talk, and I told him I was on with Andrew Craig over at Team Took, and he said, "Man, whenever he comes here, you come here. This is now your cross training space." So that kind of, if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would have ever met those guys. I don't know if I would have ever started cross training there. Like, I don't know if I ever would have got this far, but kind of off from your question, but like that's kind of how it got started for me. So once I did finally, officially a sanctioned fight, went to climb into the ring, I'd already been going for quite a few years. The first fight was a boxing match, actually.
Nice.
It was a sub novice match, so it was like a minute and a half, I think, 2-minute rounds, super short. Nothing I was used to training. I was used to training all 3-minute rounds. Some even 5-minute rounds for the pros and whatnot. And, I was perfectly calm about the whole thing. The boxing match wasn't really a thing at all for me. But my first Muay Thai fight was a little bit different. Training for it, I was getting the snot kicked out of me. I actually had an injury going into it, so I was a little nervous about my injury. But for the most part, weirdly enough, I was completely calm. I had to drive. This was actually in Muskogee, Oklahoma. So I drove from here. I was living here in San Antonio at the time. So 8-hour drive, cutting weight, dehydrated, spitting in a bottle. It was horrible. I tried to be a passenger. I couldn't do it. I had to drive. I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. So I drove all the way out there, met some friends from another team because sadly there was conflict with my team. They couldn't go. And so I met with them. But everything was perfectly fine. It wasn't until the walkout music came on, when they actually said my name. Then the butterflies started turning. I'm like, oh, this is real. This is actually happening right now. Like, I'm about to go, and me and this dude are trying to hurt each other right now.
Yeah.
And that was not something I was really used to, even from sparring and everything. It's not a feeling you get from anything else, And it wasn't, walking out, butterflies, more intense, got into the ring, talked to the ref, met in the middle, back to the corner. Butterflies still going. Once I heard that ding, walked out, and little did I know that we would actually be friends now. Spencer Hensley from Ambush Austin walked out, touched my glove, and leg kicked the snot out of me, and I went, oh, and those butterflies were just gone.
Like, just like that.
Just like that. Just like that. And, like, for everybody, it's different. I know some guys that, they'll puke before they walk out.
Do something, man.
They're nervous. They'll puke, and then, they'll get their stuff together and then finally walk out. Other guys are just chill. They're just born war ready.
Just war ready, just war up, dance with fear, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, I have two things that go off that story. The first thing is, like, it's just so prevalent in, today's culture. There is some sort of incongruency with some young adults. And what I mean by that is, like you said, you went to this gym not knowing what to expect. You're saying, like, oh, okay, we're going to, have some fun. We're going to spar a little bit, throw some punches. Yeah, here we go, and kicks. And then you realize, like, oh, okay, so this is what it's like. This is kind of fun, you know what I mean? And I think people need that. Yeah. I think, especially, not to disparage, young women. I think they should join too. Hell, I think they should also join, especially young men and just young adults in general, or teenagers. Hell, pretty much everyone. They need an extracurricular like this.
Absolutely.
I think that, and yeah, call us biased because I train under him and he's a badass fighter. But I think the reason why it's so needed now in this culture is because just look what's happening now. You have all these, especially young men doing a lot of heinous acts. Like they're either doing horrible things, they're doing, I don't really need to go on about it. But what sort of outlet can they have in a controlled environment? It could be sports, and I'm not trying to discredit sports because I think sports is great too. Yeah. But what happens after sports? What happens after college? What happens when those you can do pickup leagues, you can do pickup teams. Hell, soccer pickup leagues, those are awesome. Which, by the way, I'm getting good on my feet. I want to do soccer one day, but thanks to him. But it's just the bare concept. It's the primal mode in your body. It's like, yeah, let's fight, and it's more than about fighting. Yeah. And it's a dance almost. It's like, you dance with this fear, like I was saying, you dance with this competitive edge, because how I would feel, because I only sparred twice. One was boxing and one was at Ambush like a couple months back. or I think it was last summer. And again, like I wasn't that good, but we're getting there. But I can say this, just from that alone, it was kind of euphoric. And what I mean by that, like you said, you're now good friends with the guy you first fought with, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here it goes. I think that, and this is my theory, so don't get too crazy on me, YouTube. There is a yin yang with touch. Like this, like, you know how there's like intimacy with a lover, but then there's fist on contact by a rival.
Yeah.
There's some sort of dance you have to do. There's some sort of like connection you have. It's not. And if you want to get more, I guess, in a paradox, it's really you versus you. Just the fighter's just in the way, or the person's in the way. Because I would feel like this is how I think. When I'm like trying to throw a combo, I'm actually trying to throw that combo. Like I'm gonna throw it no matter what. That's just me, in my opinion. I'm trying to make some sort of opening, or imagining myself like, okay, if I throw this, I can throw that, right? And I think that correlates to just really in life in general. Like you're gonna like. I'm going to say it, screw up, mess up. But like you said before, like, don't worry about it. Go slow, then go fast. It's all working on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
All working on yourself.
You know, I completely agree with the idea that everybody needs some sort of extracurricular, whether it be, you know, sports, weights, some sort of martial art. I personally love martial arts for the idea that, you know, like you said, once you know, you're doing sports and stuff in school, so you have that structure, the coaching and whatnot. After the fact, if you're just doing it as an extracurricular activity, you know, you go to Gold's to play basketball. There's no coaches there. You're just there to play ball. And a lot of times you'll get in a scrap with a dude, and there's nobody to stop it. You know, there's nothing that comes along with it. You end up leaving angry about something, or, you know, whatever the case is. Where when you have, you know, you go into those clubs, the outside leagues, now you still have a structure, and you're playing with purpose, and even when something does upset you, you have that to kind of fall, that structure to fall into, that I can't be acting out because they're going to kick me off, and I truly love this sport. Where I feel like martial arts, like that structure is there no matter what.
Right.
There is no there is no end game from beginners to amateurs to pros. You are under the same structure. Everybody's under the same structure. So there's nothing like, well, you have a problem with this dude. You know, I'm not saying all gyms do this, or any of the gyms do this specifically, but like, I have a problem with this dude. Well, let's spar. Let's have it out, right? Yeah. It was actually a really cheesy line in a movie, but it was, you know, you don't really learn to respect somebody or even like them until you know them. And how do you get to know them? You fight them. Yeah. Which I don't even remember what movie or anything it was from. I just thought it was really cool, and I was like, I kind of agree with it.
And I just want to point this out too. We don't, like, for me, learning Muay Thai, it's maybe not to want to fight anyone. Like, I don't want. I honestly, no. I hate conflict. I would hate to fight anyone because, again, I think people need to know the gravity of violence. They have to, you know, do the violence in a controlled environment. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we're not trying to say like, oh yeah, so if you have a problem with someone, please go kick them in the head. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. No, we're just saying that it's nice to be prepared, because you did make up a good point. What if someone is messing with you or messing with someone? And the last resort, fighting. The last resort is always fighting. You always try to, you know, dismantle the whole confrontation, whether it's just with verbal communication, just with like, you know, hey, let me buy you something so you don't have to, like, you do. The fighting's the last thing to do. But if one needs to be into, like, you know, get into it, it's nice to have, that way you can control the situation, you know what you're doing, and no one else needs to get hurt. Like minor collateral damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I have people all the time ask, "Oh, so you could defend yourself?" Yeah, I could. I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I don't want
to.
No
one wants
and
that.
I do have, you know, a couple privates that I do. A couple ladies that I essentially work self-defense with them. But initially the question, like, oh, well, what if this? Run. Yeah. Run. Don't do anything. Just get away. Leave.
Yeah,
leave. I don't like. You know, like I said, I've been doing this for 11 years. Before I started doing this, I didn't mind. I didn't like confrontation. I didn't mind it. Sometimes I was known for slightly provoking it, but I was not one to like actually want to fight. I just liked talking shit, essentially.
You just liked, you know, having fun in a controlled environment, yeah.
But, well, before fighting.
Okay, before fighting.
After, I actually stayed further away from it. If somebody wants to conflict with me, and I'll just turn and walk to it, like, yeah, man, your mom's fat. Yeah, that's cool.
It's like,
And I just kind of leave it alone, you know. You can say whatever you want about anybody I know, myself included.
yeah, man. I mean, it's just, you don't, no one wants that. Like, and that's another thing, too, about, like, I want to point out to the martial arts community is, like, everyone in there are the sweetest people I've ever met. Like, I mean, this guy, obviously, he messes with me a lot, but it's out of love, I promise. But everyone that I've gone to, especially in this gym, they're just the sweetest people. They will take the time to help you. I remember. Yeah, no, I came back in January. I didn't even know who you were, and you're like, yeah, I'll partner up with you. I didn't know who you were. Little did I know, like, you've been doing this for 12 freaking years, or going on 12 years, and I was like, oh shit, like, don't mess up, Nick. Like, you know what I mean? But no, like, that's the thing that I love about it is, like, yeah, sure, I'm progressing. I'm happy I'm progressing, but the community is the most important thing, I feel like, especially when it comes to martial arts. The community is most awesome, gentle people. Like, pretty much the saying goes, Ax Paterna, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Yes. And that just goes from there. And as for the respect part, yes, it goes deeper than this. This is why, you know, I'm obsessed with the martial arts culture now, is that, you know, when you think of virtuous, I'm going to leave that word alone. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't see, like, a rabbit. You see a rabbit, it's harmless. You see a lion, people would call it beautiful, but, like, at the same time, gracious almost. But at the same time, you would never want to mess with a lion. No. You wouldn't, because it looks cool and calm, but if he needs to, like, you know, air it out, he'll air it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I guess that's what I'm trying to get to, especially to, like, you know, to the collective unconscious, to all you people out there. Shout out to Carl Jung. I need to stop saying that, but he's dead. He's a psychologist. But anyway, it's basically, you know, you got to grow some teeth. You got to respect yourself, and once you respect yourself, others will follow suit. Not just by seeing it through you, but they will say, like, you know what, I want to do something like that. Maybe not martial arts, but you know what, I like how he has his stuff together. Yeah. Is it martial arts? Is it maybe another extracurricular? They don't know. They'll follow it, and that's the thing. It's too. A lot of times, people on social media, they like to look up and admire and attract. Yeah. You see a lot of copiers. You see a lot of, you know, people that aren't themselves. They don't individualize. They need to have some sort of autonomy, and you can see it. You know, I'm not one to talk. I have a podcast, but the thing is, what I say is, yes, individuate. Like, be yourself. Respect yourself. And like I said, how you do it? Grow some teeth. You know, do something worthwhile. Yeah. Like, grant some, or like put on some sort of responsibility. That way you can go out to the unknown. Be the hero on your own journey. Yes. You know, like Jordan Peterson. Shout out Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, like, you know, be the hero on your own journey, which you've done that, by the way. You've gone through some adversity. You've faced the Leviathan, the dragon. You've, you know, done good for others and to yourself. And now others follow suit. And you're living proof because, dude, you've helped me a lot, man. You have helped me a lot. This gym has helped me a lot. I've been going through some adversity, you know, obviously recently. But, like, this podcast, martial arts, friends have helped me so much. So, yes, that's why martial arts and this, just having something like this has helped me. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I want to say.
I love it, dude. I've had, you know, before this, that wasn't, you know, my only hardship, if you will. I've been through many since then, but falling back on Muay Thai and using it as my outlet, as for my aggression, for just getting away from everything else. When I'm in the gym, nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters.
Leave it at the door so you can get your workout in. I mean, when I started this, that's essentially all it was for me. It was just a workout.
Yeah, same.
No intention of fighting. I didn't want to punch anybody in the face. I didn't want to be punched in the face. But, you know, once you do it, it's a release.
It's just a release. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that, like, you know, the outside, like, just outside affairs, and I just come in, like, to the gym and just, like, air it all out in the bag, or just, like, focus on a combo, on a knee, like a teep, and, like, it's just awesome, man. But, you know, another question I have to ask is, you know, I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, now you guys know I look at my notes a lot. But this is sort of kind of like this is kind of a biased standpoint, and I'm biased too. Okay. But why is Muay Thai the best? Why is it better than, and I'm going to be honest, to all you people that love karate and taekwondo, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I think the first martial art I tried was karate, like, for a year, but, you know, didn't really do well with that. But why do you think that Muay Thai is the best stand-up game?
I mean, it's a personal preference, honestly.
It is a personal preference.
I feel
Just wanna say that.
nothing against karate, taekwondo. You know, depending on what your usage is for each, they have, you know, their pros and their cons, if you will. Muay Thai is just pure grit, man. It's, you know, there's no retreat. You move forward and you smash. Like that. That's
You
it.
smash.
That's it. You have to go. You know, when you're in the ring, there's nowhere else to go. The same as boxing. When you're in the ring, you can only move back so far. At some point, you have to move forward again. And having all the weapons of Muay Thai, you know, give you an advantage. And just I think that's partly what attracted me to it too. Is and I didn't know this at the time, but just like essentially how hard you have to be to do this. Like to be soft and to do Muay Thai is actually kind of impressive because like you almost can't be. Like you have to have some kind of hardness about you, whether it's your physicality, whether it's your mentality, whatever. Essentially, for most people, it's both. You know, you essentially learn to grow one or the other, the one that you don't have. But the abuse that you take on your physical body is insane, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then having to build the mentality to be able to take that as well. I love the challenge, you know, and just, you know, I'm Mexican, and from what I hear, from my understanding, you know, Mexican boxers, they have a tendency not to move, which is like getting hit. And so I kind of feel that way about it. And for Muay Thai, there's not a whole lot of moving. You're just moving forward. You're just taking shots.
Forward.
And I don't recommend taking shots by any means. Please
Don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Yeah. Just a small little tap, like a jab. A jab can hurt if you like precise.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, a jab can hurt, but go on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just my personal preference. But like if you take it back, you know, when you look at the Olympic style of certain sports, again, not putting even those styles down, but they have had a tendency to kind of, lack of a better word, soften up over the years. They go more off a touch than off of, you know, physical harm.
Yeah.
But when you take Taekwondo back to,
Korea.
you know, its homeland, and you look at what it is, you know, what was that sports science that they were doing on ESPN for a while?
They were doing that.
And they were comparing, you know, kick for kick between, what was it, capoeira, karate, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, and I think there was one more, maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they were all essentially, they were super powerful.
Yeah.
And they were super, like the only reason Muay Thai wasn't top as far as like the kick was concerned was capoeira just had that momentum behind it. I think it was capoeira's the one that took that one. And Taekwondo was also up there as well. But even his style of kick, when you watch it, it's not an Olympic style kick. It wasn't a little snap kick. No, he turned all the way into it and he smashed that sensor. It was insane.
It's just more testament to, like, again, you know, a tendency in America, like what I've seen off of YouTube, which, I mean, not a really credible source, but, you know, but it's just that
Believe everything you see on the internet.
yeah, kids don't do that. Or I don't have any kids that listen to this anyway. I hope not. But what I see is that it's a lot of watered down, like Taekwondo and karate in America. Really, you got those Mick dojos over there. I don't know any personally, but I can see what you mean because I saw like I remember like one time I trained and then I went home and I said I wonder what Baba was talking about with the Koreans, how they actually kick in Taekwondo. Bro, it's pretty insane.
They kick insane.
They
Like,
kick.
Muay Thai is
crazy, bro.
accredited for these dudes that, you know, they kick and break baseball bats, you know, in half or whatever the case is. The Taekwondo guys do it too.
Yeah, they can.
I mean, it's really just a matter of what are you using the sport for.
Yeah.
You know, some of the Taekwondo stuff is super flashy and it's only meant to break boards and do triple backflips while breaking 4 boards on the way down. That's still impressive.
Yeah, it's
I don't
still
know how you
skillful.
do that.
I can't do that. Shoot, I cannot do that.
I don't know if I don't even want to break a board. Like, that's just weird
like,
to
I
me,
just
but
don't
you know.
It's like, I mean, hey, boards don't hit back. Bruce Lee, man.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, no, I love it because, you know, it I feel like it fits my personality, and some people may not agree with that, but for my personal standpoint for myself, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, so I have to also go back to what you said too, like boxing, and because like, okay, I've loved boxing. Like, I love watching boxing. I'm still one of those guys that, like, I still love, like, used to watch the old fights with the De La Hoya, Cesar Chavez, just the Titans. You know what I mean? I love watching that. And I see what you mean because like in the square, like Muay Thai or boxing, that's what I love about it too. Or even hell, just regular fighting in a cage, got to keep moving forward, man. You can it translates to life. It translates to everything. You got to get up and just like, go to work. Time to go to work because like once you, I haven't felt a real kick to the head or a kick to the ribs, but like I think you can attest to this too. When that kick hits, it's like, all right.
Time to go.
Time to go.
If your lights are still on, you better go because they're about to get turned off.
They were turned off, son. So,
do y'all think that, or do you feel like Muay Thai is like not only hardened you physically because you're talking about getting the physical toll,
Yeah.
but do you feel like that's also kind of translated to kind of like your mentality?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's honestly it's changed my mentality. It's from when I started. The way I looked at things then to the way I look at things now, I can truly say I'm a carefree person. Like there are certain things that'll happen, and things that I would say I was borderline like anger management issues before I started all this. Road rage, definitely. Some people will probably hear this and still claim that I have road rage. I get loud, but I don't know about road rage if that's the right term or not. But whatever. I was never one for confrontation, but I never minded getting into a small confrontation with somebody. Now it's like you can say what you want, and I really don't care. When I run, I was trained for cross country in high school, just very 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 shortly, like super like ridiculous short. I was more of a band nerd, so I ended up doing marching band. But even that, the mentality, my marching horn, the baritone, 15 pounds holding it up, in front of me like this, all those little things kind of help build my mentality. But the idea of taking pain, fighting through the pain, not giving up because that hurt, and that is, for some people like, well, that's physical, but it's mental too because now you're pushing past the physical barrier of it, and if you can push past the physical barrier of it, now it's become mental. It's a matter of can I continue doing this, and I need to continue doing this, or whatever the case was. This past weekend, 135, fighting at 135, that's my normal fight weight. I would have not normally done a fight weight like that, knowing I had to weigh in twice in the same weekend, because I ended up having to cut weight twice. It was not enjoyable. And that truly tested my mental capacity of sitting in a sauna where I'm, my head's popped out. It's a little pop-up sauna. And so you zip it up, and so your whole body's inside and your head's on the outside. And it's just hot. Like, it's a sauna, of course. But, like, the chair, your back starts getting hot, and you're just like, I don't want to sit here anymore. But you have to sweat. And if you don't sweat, you're not getting that weight off. If you're not getting that weight off, you're not going to make weigh-in. If you don't make weigh-in, guess what? You don't get to fight. Yeah. And so, the mental capacity for me to sit there had to be pushed in order for me to sit there. And even on that note, I had, shout out to one of my teammates, Tamar, who brought the sauna. He was like, man, I know it's getting hot. Like, I'm going to unzip the zipper, but you can't get out. And he unzipped it, and I, like, kind of moved. He's like, you can't get out. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just readjusting. He's like, no, you can't get out. I was like, okay. And it is a true test of your mental capacity. It's on another level, man. And if you can find yourself like, oh, my leg hurts, but you're kicking a bag and you're like, I'm going to continue kicking the bag because I know it's not injured. It just stings, You get those first couple kicks your very first time. If you can push past that, you've already, grown mentally stronger, even just that little bit. And every time you go, you try to increase it. And you'll find yourself doing that outside as well. Yeah. I truly believe that everything translates from one thing to the next. And if you can find yourself on the mat, in the ring, pushing yourself and progressing, you'll find yourself doing the same thing outside. Or I hope you're doing the same thing outside, or trying to at least,
Yeah,
so
really callicize the mind, man. That's just how it goes. And I want to get back to what you said. What is the most difficult thing about a fighter? And I think I may know the answer about this.
For me,
okay, for you.
For me, food. I love to eat, man. I love to eat. Like I said, when I started all this, I was almost at 180 pounds. After about a year, I dropped to the 140s.
Wow.
And about another 6 6 months to another year, I was actually in the 130s.
So you lost
Which I hadn't weighed since essentially high school. And at that point, I'd been out of high school for at least 6 years. So I was always pretty small in high school, and it wasn't until after I moved to Houston and those life events started taking place that I really started gaining weight. And, getting down to that weight and all the exercise that came with it. It wasn't even lifting weights. It was purely just kickboxing and Muay Thai, and that was it. I'd started touching into jiu-jitsu just a tiny, tiny bit. But yeah, all I was doing was Muay Thai. I rode my mountain bike a lot. I did inline skating a little bit. At that point, I was falling out of that entirely. I was all biking, some running. So a lot of cardio. Eat a lot of carbs.
A lot of carbs.
I survive off carbs. Everybody's all carbs make you fat. I'm good.
So
but yeah, so when you look at cutting weight and stuff, you need to do some research into your nutrition because at least for the fights, you should in general always, but for the fights, there's certain things I need to eat to help me be able to last throughout the day, to last through my workouts. To help me build muscle or at least not lose muscle while I'm losing weight. It's very important to keep all that stuff on. And so having only certain size portions that typically tend to grow smaller the closer to the fight date that I get, it becomes very, very difficult. And for me, that's honestly the hardest part. And that kind of goes back to your mental capability is knowing there's a bag of chips on the counter over there and they're looking mighty tasty. And I'm only a pound out, but if I eat those chips, about to be 2 pounds out. Like, do I really want to go through that?
I really want to do that.
It's and it's some people will be like, oh, I'll do it and I'll just cut it anyway. That's fine. Like they have the capacity for it, whatever. And that's cool, but man, why torture yourself like that? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I don't want to do that.
But for me, honestly, the hardest part is the food. Some people say the training, the fight itself, whatever the case may be. My personal opinion, the fight is the easiest part of it. You've already done all the hard stuff. You dieted, you cut, you sweat, you bled, you probably cried. If you didn't cry, I'm not sure if you're doing it right. Because I find myself every camp, I have at least 1, maybe 2 days where absolutely nothing went the way that it was supposed to go. I wasn't moving. I got punched in the face the whole time. I couldn't throw a kick to save my life. Everything just went absolutely. People were sweeping me all over the place. Everybody just beat me up, and it frustrating to the point where I literally went to my Jeep and I just cried, just bawled my face off. Like at the end of the training, I was like on the verge of tears, just out of pure frustration. And I'm like, I truly feel like if that didn't happen at least once during your training camp leading up to a fight, you might not be doing it right. You might not be pushing hard enough.
Isn't that, I gotta just say, isn't that crazy though on how that translates to life, man? I mean, there's metaphors and there's a lot of motifs in that. Like, I can't even begin because, sometimes you do cry. Sometimes you get that punch in the face from life. Sometimes things don't go the way you plan. But you still, again, it's just, I can't stress enough how beautiful it is. Like, you still got into the arena, the man in the arena, and he danced with his fear. He danced with it. He was all like, all right, gone through hell and back. Now it's time to show it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's just a testament to your character, and I have to admit, I have absolute utmost respect to like people that go through like fight camps or obviously just fight like you, man. So, hell yeah, that's an awesome story. Thank you for sharing for that. Also, so we got some more time. I gotta ask this one more question or 2 more questions. This is a big word now. If you guys don't know John from the other podcast episodes, I really don't like him. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why he's on anyway, but he should be anyway. Whatever. He wanted me to ask this question, and this is for you, so don't say that I haven't done anything for you. This is it's called transient hypofrontality. And now, I know, big word coming from John, because his vernacular has to be abstract, whatever. But basically, it's flow state. Honestly, like, I hate to say this, but Dragon Ball Z Ultra Instinct, I feel like there has to be a time, because I know Will's probably felt it in football because, he's a quarterback. It's flow state essentially basically like your body's just moving on its own. Like you're not thinking at all. Like you're literally like you're conscious, but like your body literally has a mind of its own. It's like, okay, he's gonna throw this leg kick, check. All right, cross. Just you don't have to think it; it just happens. Does that actually translate in the fight world?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it kind of has to. If you watch, and I mean, this probably is a great and not a great example at the same time. If you ever watch the UFC fights and stuff where dude gets knocked out, and when the ref's standing over him, he's trying to take the ref down because he thinks the fight's still happening. That's essentially what that is. Because there's no conscious part of your brain that's telling you to, oh, that's the ref, I'm still going to try to take him. No, you think you're still in the fight, so your body is now officially taken over, and it's kind of happening. Even in a conscious state, it does tend to happen. But it's all about training, man. It's all about training. Like, if you're not training to do those things, they're not going to happen. That's plain and simple. If I don't train to, I feel a kick into my arm, and I come back with a cross, it's not going to happen. And, and even then, on that note, there will be some things that you do train that might not happen. Trying to think of like a good example here. There are things that I've trained that I didn't end up throwing in fights, and things that I didn't train that I did end up throwing in fights. Elbows are typically things that I tend to train a lot.
Yeah, I can tell.
I love elbows. I mean, so you've seen it up close and personal.
We did okay. So like before this, we trained like before this, and that's exactly what we did. We just elbows and like hands and elbows, and that's awesome. But go on.
But yeah, so the last tournament from November that I did, I trained a specific a lead kick to try to offset balance into a spinning back elbow, and sadly, I didn't get my opportunity to throw it in the tournament. Now, I could argue that, well, I didn't have the opportunity, but chances are I probably did, but it just didn't happen. It just didn't take place. Where one of the other things, and I'll, let, he's not here, so he can't physically speak for me here, but 2 nights ago, for one of the beginners classes, Mike was showing a combo that he said I threw. I don't remember throwing this combo. But I do know that in shadow boxing and in training, I throw it a lot. And he said that I actually did throw it in the fight. And it's a rear uppercut to a hook to a cross. And whenever I'm shadow boxing, I tend to throw this moving forward and backwards. And so now at some point in one of the fights, I've yet to actually see it in the video yet, but I'll take his word for it. I threw it. And it was one of those things that just kind of happened.
Just happened.
And it's not something I think about. These are simple combos, 3-hit combos that apparently I just threw. I think the best compliment I've ever had for fighting is how well, my technique is held up even when I'm tired. Which that kind of goes into that as well, because typically when you train without the conscious state, as you get the more tired you get, the more your technique tends to go to shit, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
The more you focus on keeping it nice, tight, compact, and everything else, even as you get tired, if you overemphasize almost keeping it proper, the easier it is to keep it proper as you get tired without thinking about it. And so that's kind of where I could take that compliment from, because when these people tell me that, they're like, I could tell you were tired, but your technique was flawless. And I'm like, I don't believe you, but okay.
I have to agree with you, because, there was, Marcus Luttrell was on Rogan the other day, or the other week, actually. It feels like a day. But, the worst thing that the enemy can do is make us tired, because we're going to just resort back to muscle memory.
Exactly.
And I see that a lot. And I see a lot of Thais that they look relaxed. Those are the most dangerous fighters. Like those Thai fighters that look relaxed and they don't seem like all intimidating. No, you see those kicks, son, you better watch out for your ribs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, those are that compliment I typically get from like the other coaches and whatnot. The one thing that's said to me, it's meant to be taken as a compliment. I take it as a compliment from the non-coaches, whether they be other fighters or just the everyday member that just kind of goes for whatever, or my clients or my friends or whatever's. Dude, are you even tired? Like legit, like Peter Stanonik, good luck to him next weekend. He's fighting for Bellator against Raymond Daniels, the rematch. But after my fight Saturday, he drove all the way out there on Saturday just to cheer us on, and had to come right back. But he was out there and he cornered my Saturday fight, and we got back to the dressing room, and he just looked at me. He's like, "Bro, did you just fight? Are you even tired? Did you do anything? Are you good? Like what?" Like I wasn't tired. I didn't look tired apparently. I'll tell you right now, that is definitely not the case. In between rounds, I'm trying to recollect myself, but yeah, that's the compliment I tend to get from those other people, from the not coaches, is how composed I seem to be during my fights. And I'll tell you right now, I'm really not all that composed. Just fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah, fake it till you make it, kids.
But no, like, and I feel like that is the flow state. I feel like that's what that is. For me personally, I feel like that's
flow state. That's awesome. So good.
To be translucent, appearing from one side to the other like Goku. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
no, I don't know if that's even humanly possible. But all right. I guess one last question for all the people that are listening or watching. What advice would you give them if they want to try a martial art?
So I get this question a lot.
Right.
All right. Sorry. I'm going to rephrase the question just a little bit.
Okay.
Right. Absolutely try martial arts. If you're thinking about it, do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Because the more you think about it, the longer it's going to take for you to do it. If you feel like you're out of shape, do it anyway. I get people that come into the gym. I want to get in shape first. Then you're never going to come back. I'm going to say that right now. If you want to get in shape, go. Just go. You will. You will get into shape. And then it will become easier. There's nothing that you can do to mimic martial arts that's not martial arts. There's nothing you can use to get in shape for martial arts other than martial arts. That's it. And it goes both ways. There's nothing I could do in martial arts, or as far as like going to a fight gym, MMA gym, boxing gym, whatever, that's gonna help me go deadlift 300 pounds. It goes both ways. If I want to deadlift 300 pounds, I better be deadlifting. If I want to learn how to kick somebody in the head, I need to go be doing kicks, like plain and simple. But on that note, changing the question just a little bit here, what's a good gym?
There you go. That's a good question.
Now, of course, being a little biased here, I'm going to say Ambush Muay Thai is the best Muay Thai gym. And I do firmly believe that. I officially now have two belts with their name. I've been coaching here since November.
Hell yeah.
So I haven't really been coaching here for that long, but in the time that I've been here, the people there are absolutely amazing. The coaches are absolutely amazing. The program itself is absolutely amazing. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it, but not every gym is going to be for everybody. And I can't tell you what gym is going to be better for you. I really can't. The best thing I can tell you is from the moment that you walk in that gym, if you don't feel welcome, if you don't feel like you're learning, if you don't feel respected, leave. Don't second guess it. Just go. When I walk in a gym, I want to be greeted. Hey man, how's it going? What you here for? I'm here to learn Muay Thai. Cool, yeah man, we can absolutely do that for you. And then we kind of go through the steps, go through the process, and I feel like the coaches are helping me and they're showing me how to do things. If I'm doing them incorrectly, they're trying to show me, trying to teach me how to do them. And I feel welcomed by the members. The members, oh hey man, what's your name? Oh, how long you been here? I just got here. Oh, cool man. Like, kind of like I did with you when you came back. Like, yeah, let's partner up, dude.
Oh yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
It shouldn't matter how long you've been training for. Everybody's a good training partner as long as you help them, and as long as you're feeling all of that, then there's no reason not to leave because you're already on the right path.
True that.
But if you walk into a place and nobody's paying attention to you, nobody's trying to help you, you don't feel wanted and or welcome, then you need to go somewhere else because that place isn't for you. Yeah. And sadly, I hate to say it, but it does happen. You will find a place that is like that, but you may get to a point where you don't feel like you're growing anymore, and you might want to look at how to expand your growth. Not saying you necessarily need to leave, but maybe find something else that will kind of help you in growing a little bit more, whatever the case may be. Because you still, there's never a stopping point with this. You're always learning. You're constantly learning. In the 11 years I've been doing it, and not by choice, but I've been to a lot of different gyms. From Houston, I moved back to San Antonio. From San Antonio, I moved out to Dallas. From Dallas, I was in San Marcos training in Austin, and then in San Marcos from a coach that left here to go there, and then I finally landed here. And I've been to all the gyms, and I haven't been to a gym that I just was like, nope, not going to happen. But that's just me, and that's for me. I can accommodate to each person, because I've had coaches literally talk garbage to me, and it forced me to be better. And I've had other coaches kind of baby me, and it helped me to be better. I'm the type of person I can go with either or. Not everybody can do that. If you're you need to find what suits you.
Right. And
if you can't find that, then I don't know, maybe martial arts isn't for you. But I would like to think martial arts is for everybody.
I would say so too, man.
It's just a matter of finding your style, finding your gym, your people, your clique, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't really like the idea of the clique just thing, because I feel
community.
like I get along with everybody. Yeah. It is a community, and the Muay Thai community, while it is worldwide, it's not big, and you typically can find everybody in it though. Law enforcement, doctors. I'm a personal trainer. Other people that are, they just work in Starbucks, whatever, everybody's there. Everybody's there. Podcaster, yeah. Everybody's there. And so it is a community that, once you're in there, we're all wearing tie shorts and tank tops or T-shirts or something. We all look the same. You never know the difference anyway.
True that.
So
we got our gloves on. We got everything.
As long as you're enjoying yourself, as long as you feel like you're learning and you're progressing, then you're in the right place.
Hell yeah, man. Honestly, yeah. And what better way to wrap it up like that, guys? All right, so basically, guys, thank you so much for joining into the Season 3 podcast. Again, I just want to say, if you really want to do some martial arts, there will be a link in the description or in my bio, in my Instagram, above or below, I don't know. Again, Muay Thai, ambush tiger, or median jiu-jitsu? Is that how you pronounce
median
it?
jiu-jitsu.
Median jiu-jitsu,
Yep.
yes, with Coach Fernando. Shout out to Coach Fernando over there, rolling these fools up and teaching us how to roll. Again, I spent nothing but good vibes.
All right, guys, see ya. Thanks again to all that have listened. If you guys enjoyed the episode, go ahead, like it, share it, subscribe it, tell your friends, your family, put it in your journal, talk to your pet about it. And if you didn't like it, well, go ahead and share it with your friends anyway. That way you guys can dislike it together. In any case, I will see you guys next episode, and I send nothing but good vibes to everyone. Okay, you can go now.